adversity? Bring it. The struggle? We welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on.
Before we dive into today's episode, we want to simply say thank you for your support. For season 2, we're running a couple giveaways and we'll be selecting a couple of you to win some No Snooze merch, some products over at Orgain.com, or a $50 Amazon gift card. If you enjoy the podcast and find value in what we're doing, all you have to do is subscribe to us, leave us a 5-star review on Apple, and DM us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast, letting us know you've entered the giveaway. Thanks to all of you, the No Snooze Podcast is climbing the charts and we're well on our way to spreading this message to the masses. Enjoy today's episode. Mike, open us up.
Welcome back to the No Snooze Podcast. This is the interview series. Very excited for a special guest today, hailing from San Diego. Dave's going to give the intro. I'll let you know right now, some of the best food I've had ever was in San Diego. It was octopus taco. Still dream about it.
Wow. I've actually never been, but an octopaco, I like that.
Octopaco, yeah,
Right?
It's very good. One of my good friends, we were at the beach, and he had a football in his hand, and some kid on like the 14th level of a high-rise was saying like, throw me the ball, and he was feeling pretty good. So he like takes the most confident pro step and throws this ball. It's going perfectly and just drops to the one below and loses the football the whole day. So we never made it to the beach.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt Tierno, you know who you are.
Oh, my God. All right, guys. So today we welcome Aaron Patton, host of the very successful New Age Influencer podcast. Aaron is a part of the millennial generation who believes everyone deserves to make a living doing something they truly care about. He has taken complete advantage of living in the digital smartphone era and believes the opportunities are endless. His goal is to help you live a new age lifestyle, which means you're constantly having fun, but also using available internet tools to work smart. If you're the type of person that is fed up with the normal routine where you're living for the weekends and hating Mondays, then this is an episode for you. Social media technology has paved the way for anyone to start living a freedom-based lifestyle, and Aaron is here to provide value and break down some actionable ways to get started. Aaron, welcome to the pod, brother.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me, and hello, everyone who's watching. Stay tuned. Hopefully, it's going to be some good stuff.
Yeah, hopefully,
We'll guarantee it's going to be the best episode yet.
Right. We always do that. This is going to be the best episode yet. But between Mike and I, we're all over the place. But so you got a lot to talk about. Your podcast is great. We tune in, and I think what's interesting about your story is basically how you got into podcasting. So if we can start from, I guess, the earlier years, maybe a brief background on where you grew up, and then how you kind of made the transition would be awesome to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I live right now in San Diego. Love it here. I've been here for 6 years. That time has just flown by. I can't believe it's been so long. But I grew up in Maine, and then I went to high school in Minnesota. So I pretty much knocked out 2 of the coldest states in the U.S. So it only makes sense that I live in San Diego now. Right. Anyway, I actually chose college mostly based on the warmth and the temperature. So I went to the University of South Carolina. I got a good scholarship, so it was pretty cheap to go there. I got my first job in D.C. and spent about 6-7 years in software sales in the corporate lifestyle. Going to the 9-to-5, cranking out those phones, cranking out those demos, and trying to close clients, right? B2B. Got a bit tired of that. I moved to San Diego in 2014, and I still was working for another software company, but I just kind of hit a point where I was getting in my upper 20s, and I was just really tired of getting told what to do, where to go. I considered myself a pretty good salesperson. So in sales, it's not like, a lot of other regular 9-to-5 jobs where you control your schedule more. So if you're producing, you shouldn't have to be there, right? That was my mindset, because if I was producing and I was at the office and I didn't have anything to do, I was just like playing foosball and just wasting time.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is really pointless.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know if can you swear on this podcast?
Yeah, it's fine. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is really pointless. Pointless. And so I kind of hit a wall after I lost a couple big deals. And I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vee, as I'm sure you guys are well aware, and a couple other podcasts just about the digital opportunities that are out there, social media branding, things like that. So, I started to kind of percolate different ideas in my head as I thought I might be leaving my job soon. So kind of in the last 6 months, I was playing around with different blog ideas, social media ideas, Instagram ideas, just kind of experimenting, just kind of learning. And eventually I quit, not really knowing what I was going to do. But all I knew at that point was I didn't want to do this anymore. So
Do you remember
stopped.
how you quit? Sorry to interrupt. I'm always curious about the quitting story.
Yeah. So I can definitely go into that. So I was starting to become a real employee, like not really getting back to my boss in time, and like, come in. I would always come in a little later than everyone else, like maybe 9:30. Like, and he's just like, "What's up, man?" And then my sales started to go down as well. So if you're not producing and you're still doing that type of stuff, it's like a red flag for the upper levels, right? But I knew in my mind I was probably getting towards my exit. So I was just kind of pushing that envelope just a little bit. Then I lost a couple of the big deals. I just got real pissed off. I've been working a certain deal for about 3 years since I started with that company, lost it. And I kind of just checked out. I kind of just didn't come into work one day, kind of ignored him. So it was just like a natural, and he was cool enough, my immediate boss, where he wasn't going to be like, all right, that's it, like cut him off, like firing. Like he had a conversation with me, like, this is what's going on, man. And we had some conversations like that before leading up. Like, I'm not sure if, I still want to be here, but he's like, all right, well, let's give it a couple more months. So he had a feeling too. But anyway, we had a meeting with an HR person with him, and we just came to the conclusion that it's time to move on. And in sales, you don't give a 2 weeks notice. It's like, all right, you're done, you leave.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because you'd like stop it, and then all of a sudden, all those deals, all that stress, it just disappeared.
It's just gone.
Just floats out of your body. Like,
very
it's just
bizarre.
gone.
And Mike has he could definitely relate because he basically did the same
story,
thing,
yeah.
to get into real estate. But I'm curious, as you were now transitioning out mentally, and was there something that was telling you, like, okay, now go for this, there's going to be this opportunity, go ahead, take that leap, take that chance, because you have to be confident in that something's going to work, right? Like, you're not just going to go live in your car or on the street. Yeah. So was there something that was like preparing you, and then was there a voice in your head or something like that? I'm always curious about, because I always claim that there's a voice in your head that gives you this idea, and then constantly it happens and happens and happens until finally you take action and you start moving in that direction. So I'm just curious to hear, is that sound like something that happened?
Yeah. So in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want to, I'm pretty good at the sales thing, but I'm wasting a lot of time. Mm-hmm. I want to start selling for myself, but I'm not really sure what that means yet. I don't really know what I'm going to be selling or like how I'm going to eventually get there. I just know that I think I could do it. But on the flip side, that wasn't my initial thought. That was like in the back of my head. But my first thought was, I don't know, screw this. I'm going to go play poker, because I was a big poker player and playing that on the side a lot. So I was like, maybe I can just make this stuff work. And then that'd be really nice, just to play the game I love, make a living, and, just have more freedom. Well, poker's a pretty hard gig when you're doing it for a living, because there's no other job where you go to and then like they take a couple $1,000s from you, which can happen in poker. Like, just, sometimes you go and you win, but sometimes luck's not on your side. All you can do is make decisions over the long term, play the percentages, and hope that it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But anyway, I'm a pretty big risk taker and gambler, because I like playing poker. I'm slightly Asian, so I guess it's in my gene pool, I guess, a little bit.
I've never heard that. Slightly Asian. Not a little bit, slightly.
Slightly Asian, yes. I remember playing cards with my grandfather, like, when I was a child and stuff.
Were you playing poker when you were a child?
Playing rummy, poker.
That's awesome.
Different games, yeah. So I quit to play poker and was trying to figure that stuff out. And then kind of realized that it's not going to work out. And I also don't like spending, 6 days in the casino every week.
When you had that realization that you're like, all right, I just quit my job. I just tried to play poker, which I know a lot. I'm all down for it. I know a lot of people be like, what? You're going to play poker? Then when that doesn't pan out, what was your mindset at that point? Were you like, maybe I have to go back, or were you still committed and you're like, I just need to find the right thing?
Yeah, I was just like, I need to figure out, why I love this game so much, because I was enjoying doing it, even though I wasn't making big bucks or anything. I was also documenting this on social media too, so you can actually go back and you can see every single session, every single win-loss, and it doesn't amount to anything grand, but it is on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
That's besides the point. Yeah. I try to figure out and analyze for myself and become more self-aware. Why do I love this game? And really it's because of all the diversity in the game, bringing all the backgrounds together, stories from different people, playing poker with a corporate guy next to like a younger Asian student, next to a grandmother. Like, it's all these people who would never hang out ever in any walk of life except for the poker table. And, I just got to know a bunch of different people and their stories. Like, this is interesting. Not only do I like the math, the gambling, and the winning, hopefully, but I also like the interaction, the social part of it. Because I didn't like playing online poker because that wasn't, just pressing buttons. I might as well just sit in a cubicle if I'm going to press buttons all day. So also live poker is easier because you can see people, you can get certain reads off them. But anyway, I was like, well, how can I parlay this interest and this passion I have into something a little more productive? And so I had been starting already to do some Instagram stuff, to research, how to build an online business and brand. And I was listening to a bunch of podcasts playing poker as well. And so I was like, I'll just start a podcast and, try to reach out and talk to cool people and learn from them how they've built online social media brands and businesses of themselves. And so not only can I produce content, but I can learn, with hopefully an audience as we grow. So it kind of knocks, out two birds with one stone. So I've been doing that, just applying my sales skills to Instagram DMs for the most part, sourcing guests. It was a lot harder in the beginning. Now it's much easier, but I've stuck with it and been consistent with it. And it's been amazing to connect with so many incredible people. Not only interviewing people, but being on podcasts like this is just, it's really cool to connect with people doing similar things with similar mindsets. It's that attitude we talk about, the no snooze attitude. So that's what I try to embody. I just call it something different. I call it new age, but it's all in the same bucket. But I've been learning, doing, and getting towards the application of it.
Yeah, no, you take a ton of action, and even your your podcast. What was it that made you decide, okay, yes, I want a podcast, but now basically to leverage and scale, I am going to highlight influencers, which is, it's
very
genius. But now, how did you, while you were starting out, get in touch with somebody who has a massive following on Instagram? And I'm sure it was just through trial and error. We go through that now as well. But again, we've only been doing this for 6 months now, right? Since
I'm terrible with
something
dates.
like that. About 6-7 months. But as it keeps going, it gets a little bit easier and easier. But we're at a different level now than obviously you are. You're 90 episodes in, I think, at this point, and your content is great. But how did you decide? Okay, now I want to go highlight people, I guess, who are influencers in the space.
Yeah, so I was intrigued by how they were making money. Like, it's just, some of them are much more savvy than others.
I knew I liked you. I love this part.
Yeah, I was like, well, I want to live for a living or do something like that, right? So I was just really interested in how that worked. Like, what are the main ways that people are monetizing? So it's, it all starts with money, right? I quit my job. I'm going to need some money, but I'm also interested, like, to talk to new people as well. And not only that, I knew in the back of my mind, like, if this actually works out and I get in touch with these people and they agree to come on, it's just a natural marketing cycle built into it. Because if they're happy with the podcast production, then they'll promote it on their stuff and it'll automatically get new people every single week. Yep. So it's like, I don't have to do anything extra really as far as marketing.
It's efficient.
In the beginning, when I don't have capital to just spend money on ads or anything.
Yep.
But so that was my thought process. And so in the beginning, to source the guests, I just treated it just like sales. Just created a prospect list, just reached out to them, kept track of like when they opened the message, if they opened it, if they responded back, my follow-up times, just organized tracking of it, just like, applying my Salesforce tactics into Instagram DM tactics.
Did you work for Salesforce?
No, but I use
wow.
Salesforce. I use that CRM, and literally almost probably 4 out of the 5 software jobs I had, I had to keep track of my opportunities and accounts and leads and all that in Salesforce. So
Nice.
it's just a very natural thing.
I love that. I love when you take the application of something that you've learned. Well, I'm sorry. You take the strategies, I guess, from something that you've learned and apply it into a different energy, but it's all the same stuff.
But it's for yourself. You made that point earlier. You're doing it for yourself now, which I'm sure
It motivates you. That's an easy motivation.
Yeah. And you said something interesting. You said, it all starts with money, but you also made a good point that it's not so much money, it's freedom. Money allows you to do whatever the hell you want. So
exactly.
that the real goal is freedom. So I've been obsessed, and we always talk about how can you, maybe it's not money, but how can you get, free stuff that in turn helps you free up cash. So like, getting branded by Suits or whatever the collaboration opportunity is, that's kind of what we've been obsessed with versus the click per, whatever model, whatever that's called. CPM model.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane the amount that I've learned and the difference in mindset I have from just 2 years ago to now. Because I say that because I'm taking you back to when I started. It was about money, and I thought that's what it was going to be about. But no, you're right. It's about freedom. Money is just a tool to dig the hole to freedom. Like you need to get to freedom lifestyle. Money just provides the options to do so. And that's just one of thousands of lessons now that I've learned about certain things, just money and time and, how to approach things and think about things, persistence and all of that. So
let us know if we're overstepping. Out of all the people you talk to and all the strategies, what did you find as far as monetizing that was the most effective for you? What was the strategy that you cling to, or the combination?
Yeah. So most the top level ways to make money online, I can just rattle them off.
Yeah.
But so it's mainly you'll make the money from either the actual social media platform itself, like YouTube monetization or a Facebook monetization. You can make money from brand sponsorships. You can make money from affiliate deals. You can make money from physical products, digital products, or consulting. Those are the big 6. And so some of those are much easier to do than others as a beginner. Some of those are much harder to get to, but more lucrative. Some of those are much more passive than others. So for everyone out there, if you're just starting, it makes most sense to step your toe in the water of consulting, because that's essentially giving you that first ring on your belt for freedom, which is location freedom. So if you can get money as a consultant after you build up a little bit of a brand or authority or some kind of credibility, then you can start to get clients yourself. And you don't even really have to get that many clients to equate, most of the time, to equal your previous job. Maybe if you get 10 clients at $1,000 a pop, 10 grand a month, 120K a year, that's a pretty good living for most people. That's not including taxes, but one-on-one consulting is kind of the thing that I recommend most people get into if they haven't made any money online, because you don't have to have a huge following for that. You can just source it yourself through DMs, just like I did with guests. And then once you get that down, you can start to understand what people really want, and then you can start to create some more scalable income options. So I'm literally in the mix of it right now. I've been doing some one-on-one consulting. I didn't monetize for a long time. I actually wanted to build up a little bit of some credibility and authority before I started doing that, because if you go into the online game thinking you're just going to monetize immediately or try to make money without having the proven model of what you've been doing to sell that service, it just doesn't make sense to people. People think you're trying to scam them. They won't believe you. You won't get any testimonials. You won't get any social proof. So it's kind of a step-by-step process that you need to go through. And this is something, again, I've just learned from talking to everyone, not something I knew, but just learning by teaching, learning by experimentation. So I'm just in the process now of actually kind of, I haven't put a huge amount of focus into one-on-one consulting, but definitely a little bit. But now I'm actually launching in the next week or two more of a group consulting program for podcasters to help podcasters, do exactly this, monetize their following and also grow their social media accounts. Because there's a lot of podcasters out there that don't have a background in sales, that don't have a background in marketing, that want to talk about something specific, but don't know how to go about it the right way. So that's where I'm starting. I'm not even starting in the big affiliate games or brand sponsorships or anything like that. I'm starting in the weeds just like everyone else. So that's how I recommend people go about it.
No, that's great stuff. And you said something, and I want to see, obviously, the tactics to build a social media following. We're kind of just, figuring it out now. But it was funny, before we ever even launched a podcast, I was excited. In episode 1, I remember saying it. We had like 1,100 followers, just literally building up this podcast. Like, we're going to launch it. We're going to launch.
We were the Fire Festival of podcasts for a while. We were like, we don't have a podcast.
Yeah, we had 1,100 people, and now we're at about 5,000, 5,500. But it's organic, and it's really an authentic following that's kind of latched onto us, which has been great. We're so appreciative of that. But at around 2,500 followers, and I'm more concerned with active engagement versus just the number of followers, because anybody can go by, an amount of followers.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, and I want to hear from you on really growing social media, not only for us, but somebody who's just starting, that's really trying to build a page. I saw a significant we had a talk, the three of us. We said, all right, we're at 2,500 now. To get us to 5,000, something's got to change. And the one thing that we did, and I don't even know why I really started doing it, I just remember typing podcast into the hashtags.
Which is genius.
Right? And I literally just started clicking on pages. And before I knew it, thousands of pages actually end in podcasts. Like ours is No Snooze Podcast, right? Yours is New Age Influencer Podcast, right?
Yeah.
So you see all these names. So I just started hitting follow. I would go to their page. I'd like a couple photos, might DM them, engage with them. Aaron, when I tell you we got from 2,500 to 5,000 with that single technique, I didn't know it was that easy.
Yeah, I called him. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Because there's people following us left and right. I'm like, did you post like yourself naked? Like, what are you doing? Why is it? Yeah, I thought he screwed something up where he like posted the wrong thing.
But I mean, have you seen the same? I mean, the same thing. Obviously, I'm sure you could speak to more, I guess, of the tactics of it. But do we sound on the right track?
Yeah, no, that's you hit it on the head. That's the exact thing that I've done, and that's what I recommend to people. It's like go and follow accounts that are similar to what you're doing. It's collaboration over competition, because they will follow you back because they have the same interests as you. Or go and interact with people who liked the posts of those podcast people, like because they obviously have shown interest in that type of account too. Maybe they're just doing the mass-like thing, but chances are you'll hit some that have similar interests. So yeah, targeting your active one-on-one battle engagement is the most important thing in the beginning. It's just that foundation work. It's that Gary Vee type of, Twitter mentality where he spent 10 hours a day for 3 years straight just responding to all the wine conversations on Twitter. And that's what you do when you don't have a following. You have to build a solid base, and then eventually it'll get to a point where you don't have to do that one-on-one battle anymore, and it will start to, just organically grow itself. Well, it's still good to always reach out to people one-on-one. But yeah, I did the same thing. I would go and follow and like. I still do it with a podcast account. Most of my followers in the podcast account are podcasters. And that's also who I'm going to be helping here in this monetization method. So, I want to keep, I want to talk to them all the time. So that's what I recommend, starting out. But not only just people that are similar to you, it's again, the people that are interested in the things you're talking about. People that are interested in mindset, business, self-improvement. You go to those big accounts, you go to the people who like those photos, and you go and interact with those people who like those photos. Yep. Or commented. The commenters are better because they've shown that they actively engage with posts.
Do you have any merch?
Do I what?
Do you sell any merch?
Oh, merchandise. No, I do not.
So we started to scratch the surface of it, and I think it's a long term. It's a great play because they have things like now we use Printful, where you're able to design whatever you want with just your logo, and then there's a drop shipping arm of it, and you can have a storefront of Spotify. I think the overhead's like $30 a month, so it's pretty absurd that you can offer 40 variations of gear with no overhead other than $30. And if you build a strong enough brand with an identity, long term, it's just a constant revenue source. It's built-in marketing. It's like what you're talking about. It's that efficiency arm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that physical product branch. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people think physical products, they think, I gotta come up with a design, a prototype, find a manufacturer, get inventory. And that is a lot. And some people do that. Some really successful for a lot of people, but it definitely takes more of a push to get that going, where if you just drop ship it, if you do POD, print on demand, scrub t-shirts and just send them off, that's easy. And you can definitely make a nice passive income stream there without putting in too much of the initial work.
And we actually did both, because at first, believe it or not, and I think you can see it behind us, the No Snooze logo. It's it's an hourglass. It's a Z with a line through it. It's got a lot of meaning to us. And people latched onto the logo. But I remember we had prototypes just for us. And we just, on an Instagram story, like, hey, anybody interested in this? And then all of a sudden we sold, I mean, now it's probably up to 200 hoodies, 200 T-shirts. It's crazy. But we didn't do it with the intent to just make the money. Like, it actually meant something to us, the content, that we're putting out. So I think it's really important first to make sure that you have a message and a skill that you enjoy doing that you can help. And the consulting thing has actually been something that I do on a professional level outside of, podcasting. But for some reason, I don't know why, my confidence is lacking for whatever reason, as I think about it, to offer that to somebody. And I don't know why, because I'm a very confident guy. But I just do so much for free. Like if somebody asked me for something, I never thought of charging, but I do a lot of workout stuff, right? I have a bunch of certifications and all that stuff. So when people ask me, I could really be monetizing on it. So the next person that DMs me, asks me for a fitness program, I'm charging you. I'm telling Aaron sent me.
No, DM me and I'll charge him, and then I'll give you what's left over.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the biggest thing is to have a genuine message that you're trying to create with your content to then build, I guess, the following through that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, of course, you should start charging. But even if you're not charging right now, if you're going to help them for free, like maybe it's a friend or a distant relative or something, at least get a commitment from them that if you help them and get them X result, they're going to send you Y video, saying how you helped them. Because social proof is the only thing that we have online to go off of to make more sales and to scale it.
Wow.
It's just like Yelp or Rotten Tomatoes. People are going to... You can say you're the best in the world. I think I'm the best in the world. Everyone thinks they're the greatest. But until someone else says it, no one's really going to take you seriously.
That's an amazing point. And I've been thinking for the real estate stuff, getting video, reviews, but, testimonials, just interviewing people. Say, oh, what'd you work with Mike on? What'd you think? And I don't even need to be there. It'd be pretty funny if I was there, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. Keep that. But it's a great point, because if someone else recommends you, your chances of closing the deal are much better. Like if someone says, listen to this podcast, I've been listening to it, you're much more likely to listen because someone, documentaries, all that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had a beta group of people I was helping for a 3-month span. We're kind of in a break right now, but I was helping them all for free. And I said, I'll help you free forever with whatever I'm doing in the future.
Wow.
But you just got to send me some video stuff. So I have 25 videos. I haven't rolled out any of them yet. But,
you gave them free forever?
Yeah, free for consulting calls. Because I'll be doing consulting calls once a week. It's not like I'm going to be hopping on there.
No, it's pretty awesome. Free forever.
That's the test once a week for 2 hours, anyone can hop on for that time.
Pretty cool. Very cool. It's a great idea.
And I'm going to be charging for that very, very soon, but I needed that initial kind of free social media proof to sell it. So when I roll it out here in 2 weeks or whatever it's going to be, I'm pretty confident that I'll get at least a couple podcasters to sign up initially because of that. But I was going to make a point too, for people listening out there, there is a little bit of a difference between testimonials and case studies, because testimonials is just Dave is great. He's a fantastic guy. I really like him. He helped me. But case studies is before I met Dave, I was struggling with this. And after I talked to Dave, he helped me realign this thing or this strategy. Now I'm here. And that sells way more than just the testimonials. The testimonials are great too, but the case studies, that's where the gold is. That's what I've learned. That's what people have said had really skyrocketed their sales and their results for whatever service or product they're selling, is when you actually get other people to tell other, audience that they got a result because of it.
Have you ever thought of recording your like consulting, recording the segments? Because I'm constantly thinking about like scaling. You're just one person. We're just 2 people, 3 people. How can we have babies, have careers, and then also monetize a podcast without killing ourselves in our schedules, right?
So the answer to that for me, I honestly think the holy grail of everything that I've learned after talking to all the people who've made money in different ways, different aspects, I really think the holy grail and what we're all migrating towards is the subscription economy, because we're all used to subscriptions, but we're used to subscriptions for services and companies. We're not necessarily used to subscriptions for people and personal brands or podcast brands. But that's what we're trending towards, because people don't really give a shit about just the information anymore, because the course boom happened several years back where you could charge for an ebook or courses, launch it, sell it, not touch it, and get that passive income. But now there's so many of those courses out there, and YouTube and Google, like you can find anything you want for free. Like your information's not any more special than the next guys or girls.
Yeah.
But your access to you is what people are going to pay for. I got this from one of my mentors, Mark Lack, who's a personal branding guy, CAP, which is confirmation, access, and putting it together. So people don't pay for the information. They pay for the confirmation that they're doing it right, the access to you to ask them questions specific to their situations, to apply those tactics and strategies, and then putting it together and making it work, all sync together for themselves. That's what people pay for. So if you can give them a combination of information and access to you, like one-on-one or like group consulting calls with those videos that have all been recorded in the past and recorded as a library, like as a content library, just like Netflix. I call it turning yourself into Netflix, because everyone's understands that, conceptually in their head, but it takes, a lot of work to do it. You have to establish the credibility. You have to figure out what you're going to offer. You have to figure out the problem you're going to help people solve. So that is the process and path that I'm on. I'm just kind of in the second phase, which I'll be launching a group consulting. And then the final phase will be that official membership platform where I integrate the videos into it rather than just calls.
Wow.
Because they have Patreon. Have you heard of Patreon?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
the
So
platform
Patreon's great.
do?
It's the same thing, but they take a cut. So
you don't want that.
I don't want to give them.
All right. I was actually gonna go there with the everyone hears about Gary V, right? But
I like how you said that.
just Gary V. But you have a great mindset when it comes to like the audio boom and how, if you're deciding to actually get into a space now, that it's really not too late. Because a lot of people, they even ask, and it's funny, we spoke about it on a podcast before, people actually reach out and they're like, hey man, would you guys be think that I'm copying you if I start a podcast? I'm like, what?
Yeah. Of course you are.
That's like saying, will we be jealous if you go get a job because you have a job too?
It's like I want to work in government.
And right. And it's hard to explain, but I mean, we see it because now we're in it. Obviously, you've seen it because you were in it 2 years longer than we've been in it. Where do you think we're at with people that want to jump into an audio platform? I guess in the audio these days.
Yeah, a couple of things on that. I mean, there's 1 million podcasts right now, which seems like a ton, but in the grand reality, it's not that much at all. There's 1 billion YouTube channels, billions of Instagram accounts, billions of blogs. So podcasting is like just a small little baby.
Wow. Wait. Repeat that. So there's there's only 1 million podcasts right now. And I never thought about this, billions of Facebook accounts, YouTube channels, Instagram accounts. And so blogs. That's it right there.
Smaller pond.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you have so much time to jump in.
Yeah. But just because, it's so it's hot. Everyone knows someone that's starting a podcast that people think, because they hear about it, that, everyone has a podcast, but it's just, you're just hearing about it a lot because people are promoting it a lot. And it's just, it's really not a huge market yet. And I think it's going to start to get there with the recent acquisitions with like Joe Rogan from Spotify, and Spotify just released that they're giving a bunch of influencers new deals. Addison Rae, the TikTok girl, and her mom just launched their podcast, which is already huge because she's like the second most followed person on TikTok.
Who was that?
Addison Rae.
Oh yeah.
And Charlie, the most followed person on TikTok, Charlie D'Amelio or whatever.
She's
she
from
has her
Norwalk.
own fucking Dunkin' Donuts drink. You can go and order the Charlie at Dunkin' Donuts if you want.
See, that is I love that stuff.
Mike will say he made it if
I'm
he gets
a capitalist through and through. And like we had conversations with good friends, and they're like, and there's nothing wrong with waiting to monetize. I just, in a commission base, you know how it is. I just go for whatever you can get in the beginning and then keep retooling. So like if someone's going to give me $10 to rock a wristband on a podcast, I'm doing it. You know, that's how I am, you know?
Yeah. Well, because she in her TikTok videos, I guess, always talked about coffee, how she went to this.
Yeah, she always has the coffee.
Yep.
She's from New Hampshire, Massachusetts.
She's from Norwalk, Connecticut, Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
2 towns away from us.
There it is.
I couldn't
Perfect.
scout out the talent and be like, all right, I'll fund you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, did you want to?
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No.
No, it's all good. But I was just, a million podcasts in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal. And then just to your other point, I was going to say, you want competition. Like
Right.
if there's no competition, if your idea hasn't been done yet, well, you want to run the other way because it's going to take a lot more work to start a new idea in a new industry that no one's ever heard of before than it is to put your own spin on an existing idea. That's the information or the advice I get all the time from entrepreneurs. You know, people think they have to come up with the new Uber or the new Amazon to be successful. It's like, no, 99% of successful entrepreneurs take an existing idea and put their own spin on it and make it better in their own personality, their own way. And that's how they win. You know, it's not different. It's just better.
It's interesting too how your whole podcast is encouraging lifestyle business, right? When I was in college and we had all these business ideas, that was looked down upon, right? They would say that's a lifestyle business. You don't want to do that. You want scale. You want to run a company that's, Fortune, whatever. And looking back, no, I wanted a lifestyle business. They just were old school and they didn't give me the advice. So it's very refreshing that I'm seeing that you're encouraging people to say, find your passion and then figure out how to monetize it. And you don't need to make, it's very Gary Vee to say, but you don't need to make $400,000 a year. You make 60 grand, you're happy and you're doing things you love and it's worth it. So if
you do that, you can scale up. You just have to match your old lifestyle to be like at least even happier than you were. And then you can control it. But then instead of waiting on your damn boss to give you a promotion or a raise, which is little each year, well, you can have some new thing that you implement and just go to the freaking moon one year, but you never would have had that opportunity if you were just doing your job. And people always ask me like, why, do you like your job when I was doing sales? And I would say, well, yeah, kind of, but really the only reason is because my money to effort ratio is really solid.
nice.
When it comes to corporate America.
Yeah.
Because sales is like, you have to put in good effort and do it right. You can make a lot of money for not nearly as much work as like, a data accountant or something.
Yeah. I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's very similar to Mike Pirelli here.
You got my language.
Yeah, no, and it is gold. It really is. It's different gold for me, but it's true gold. And the other thing I really like about Aaron too is, and you see this in successful people, really in any industry, and this is applicable, I believe, anywhere in life, and is a very valuable tool. Not only being authentic and your passion and all that stuff is great, but telling people actually what you're doing while you're doing it makes all the difference in the world, because your credibility skyrockets. And if you do it well yourself, there's no downside to telling people it's not a secret, right? Like what you just said is a fact. Everything that you're doing has probably been done before, but it's not Aaron's way of doing it. So that's where you get to put your spin. Same thing with Dave and Mike and Claudio, right? But I just appreciate that about you, because you're very open, even in the podcast episodes of New Age Influencer that I've listened to. You're very strategic in telling, look, it's not rocket science. This is exactly what I did, and this is how I'm doing it, and it's helpful to people.
The whole time concept that you're talking about, I say it every episode. when you make the realization that it's all about maximizing return for your time, and it's just the time to income, time to benefits, time to results, your whole mindset changes. Because you're like, yeah, I can run around like a madman and do this, but I can do the same thing by recording myself in a video, and it takes me, might take me an hour up front, but then I have that video forever. Right?
Exactly.
So it's all the
exactly. Yeah, it's just an asset that serves you forever. And the money you earn allows you to buy your time back. So instead of you having to drag your ass to get your car washed, you just pay someone to come to your garage and wash it for you. And you have to do that with money. If you don't have that extra money, you have to go and spend that half hour washing the car or changing the oil or going grocery shopping, as opposed to getting someone to just deliver it to your house every single week, like fresh vegetable basket, like whatever,
Yeah.
So that money allows you to buy your time back and allows you to focus more on stuff that you like doing, but also stuff that you're good at doing, which makes for a much happier life. And going back to, again, what you said, Dave, is the journey is like the most important part. I'm so happy that I have documented this podcast from the very beginning, because you can see from the very start, not only I'm, hoping that I've gotten better as a podcaster, but like just the involvement. I've changed my mind multiple times on like intros and like what I've been doing and the types of things I've been doing, but it's all documented. It's all there. So someone can go back to the very beginning and watch it. And I'm not nearly anywhere near, not even in the stadium of where I want to be, but I'm definitely further along than I was 2 years ago. And they can see that progression. But it's important to document that journey, because that's what people are addicted to. And that's what people can relate to. Because no one can really relate to Lewis Howes. Like, so if you're a new podcaster and you could pay me like $95 a month to get my expertise, I've been doing it for 2 years, semi-successful podcast, or you could pay 10 grand to get help from Lewis Howes for once a month. Like, it doesn't make sense to do the Lewis Howes things because you have no relatability there. He's way above everyone else in the podcast game. And you would rather pay someone who's a little bit farther along on the journey than you, but still relatable, which is so key. And then on the flip side of that, if you get to like a Lewis Howes type of credibility or stature, and you've been documenting it from the beginning, how cool is that to go from his journey way back when to where he is now? And he has some of those videos, like way back when him and Gary Vee and a couple of those other guys were looking all scrubby and kind of worn down, just like starting out in their journeys. And it's like, yeah, there's some of those, there's not much, but there is some. But if we could go back, for example, and scroll through, Steve Jobs, or even frickin' Donald, could go back and like go to his first post ever. If he was posting along, or like Steve Jobs was posting videos of him and Woz like fucking around in the garage and them yelling at each other. Like, how cool would that be?
Yep. Nice.
Before they made it.
And to Dave's point, and I have a question for you. When you are verbal and you tell people what you're doing, especially when you're starting out, you have mixed responses, right? Because people have their preconceived notions on what you're going to do. They really don't understand it. I know for us, we got a very mixed response. A lot of support, but a lot of people that kind of patronize you and, oh, yeah. And they like said it.
No snooze, huh?
Yeah. We still get it. What was, when you decided to start, we listened to your first episode today, and you sounded extremely confident. You sounded very polished. A lot different than us when we started. We kind of were winging it. But what was the initial response? Do you remember, like, after you posted the first episode?
Yeah, I just, I didn't get a lot of negative response. But I know that there was a lot of people out there that were kind of like, oh God, what is he doing? This is kind of awkward. But it is awkward. It is awkward when you do something different and you put yourself out there like that. And I know even to this day, people who don't really understand what I've been doing or doing, have those conversations like, I'm not sure, like what's going on here. But now they start to see it form. They still don't see the full shape of it yet, but like they start to see it. But in the beginning, the people who were closest to me were very supportive, especially, immediate family. But I was lucky enough to start out with some pretty solid guests. So they're like, oh shit, that guy's a pretty solid guest. And it's nice to learn from him, and maybe Aaron will say something semi-cool sometime. Like, whatever.
No,
But yeah, it's just it's been a good journey. But yeah, I mean, you just have to, if you're going to do something different, you have to be prepared for that blowback. And some of those, some people aren't going to respect or understand what you're doing. They may unfollow you or like not really talk to you anymore. Maybe they were distant friends that you still don't talk to yet, but they're, they'll never reach out anymore. Like whatever, like this. But to get different results in life, you got to do different types of stuff.
That's exactly it. And that is a no snooze dime right there.
Good. You definitely got to follow through too. That was a good point. If you follow through.
Yep. And you just keep doing it regardless of any sort of, regardless of the outcome, right? You're just going to put the work in regardless. And once you commit to something, commit to any journey in life, that's the goal. As long as you're consistent, you continue to take actions, even when you don't want to take the actions. Small steps will always lead to the big wins. So that's kind of what we always preach.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NOSNOOZE30. Again, that's NOSNOOZE30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
Just to transition over to like life stuff, right? Has there been, and this is just something for me that I love hearing people and their personal experiences. Has there been a moment in your life where you've, encountered a crazy struggle, a real adverse moment, and have been able to, I guess, struggle getting over it, but you've come out on the other side? Is there something that like kind of sits there in an experience for you?
I'd say just like the first realization that I'm not going to be able to make this these casino lifestyles work, like that I'm not going to actually be able to make it in poker. It's like, I got to do something different than what I originally quit my job for. I was prepared for that because I had been thinking about those options all along the way. But like when it's like, when it was multiple sessions and I lost money and I didn't have another income, like it takes a toll on you. Again, I like risk, but it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, the stress level must be through the roof there.
What's that?
Yeah, the stress level must be just through the roof when you don't have another source of income and you just kind of.
Yeah, it's hard to take when it's like, you don't have a job and you're playing this game and maybe like you're in for a couple $1,000s on this one pot where you're like a 75% favorite or something, but then they hit like a 3 or 4 outer to beat you and they should never beat you, but it's just some rich asshole who doesn't care about money who should be playing the bigger games anyway. That's how it goes with poker.
Yeah.
Those who are familiar with poker will understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. Those who aren't are probably confused, but that's just how it happens. Like you can be good and get unlucky. So that was the first kind of hard pill to swallow. I still play a lot of poker, and I actually played a lot of online poker during Corona times but just with my friends, we took our home game online, and
you took all their money.
They're not that good, so yeah.
Smart man.
He's like, pay me this subscription. I'll teach you how to play poker.
And I'll take your money.
Take your money.
Yeah, but then the biggest second adversity is probably what I'm doing right now. It's like I've just kind of been skating this second rollout here for a while, but I'm going to be doing it very soon. But I probably should have done it like several months ago. But I'm just in my mind, I'm like, am I ready to officially launch this thing for people to pay me for? I think I'm going to do a couple more episodes, get some more credibility. But
there's never a good time. It's like having a baby.
Yeah, that's right. It's definitely a lesson. That's something I know. But money wise, I haven't had my true back against the wall yet. So it'll come if I don't take this action here soon. But I'm pretty confident I'll be able to make it work. But it's just, you have a constant imposter syndrome sometimes. Like, am I really worth this money? Am I worth doing this? Am I worthy of talking to these people? A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Bill Perkins, who's probably one of the richest guys I've ever talked to in my life. He's a big poker player too, but he's like Bill Zarian's one of Bill Zarian's best friends. He just wrote a book called Die with Zero. about how to.
I know
optimize
exactly
your
who
life.
you're talking about. He's
Yeah,
actually
optimize your
always
lifestyle.
with Dan Bilzerian too.
I thought of
Yes.
Perkins.
Always.
He was just with him for about 2 months in like Croatia and Greece and all of that.
Yes, yeah, rough life.
I thought of Tony Perkins from Heavyweights when you said that. I'm like, Bill
Gotcha.
Perkins.
Yeah, not
never
Tony
seen that.
Perkins.
the
Bill
sausage
Perkins.
the sausage king.
Anyway,
of Chicago.
I was like, I'm 2 years into this, and I'm talking to this guy, and he's worth 1,000 million times more than me. The biggest loss he's ever taken in poker, because I always watch him on the high stakes games, was like 2.7 million. Is the most he's ever lost in one pot. So that puts that one in perspective, how rich he is versus where I am. But, talking to him on the same level and just like shooting the shit with him, it's just like, damn, this is crazy. Like, I can relate to this guy on so many levels that I can't, but like I can still keep my own with a conversation. So
that's got to be a reaffirming, point in the whole process. There's little things that happen where I know you seem like the type that you don't sit on your successes, but there's got to be points where you just kind of think to yourself like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, how did I get here?
Yeah. It's like, these guys, and then you talk to them and they're just regular people. They're like, just celebrities. They're just regular people, but they've just done something so well for so long. They have this credibility and fan base and following built up, but they make the same mistakes as you do. Actually, one of my most favorite conversations, his name's eluding me right now, but he's like a really high-end consultant for like, he had a couple billionaire clients. And so he's like, these guys have more money than God, but I'm consulting with them on these events. And I walk into this guy's, mansion in Dubai or whatever, it's top of the thing. He's worth $1 billion. And he's freaking out. He's like, oh, the Steve Sims is who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And then Steve was like, why are you so unhappy? He's like, man, I just can't figure out what type of sushi I want to order tonight for everyone. And I'm just, having very stressed out time figuring it out. And like, oh, Jesus, like that's not a big problem, but something he's stressing out about. It's like, damn, okay.
Just buy a sushi joint if that much money.
Yeah, just buy it all. Buy the whole menu, but he's still stressing out about it. It's like, it's a regular guy. He's got money.
Yeah. Wow. Now, there was something I wanted to ask you about. I forget exactly where I was because I got kind of wrapped up in there.
Yeah,
but
it gets me fired up.
But the social media stuff. When you are now, I guess, say you have your. Let's draw up a scenario. You have a job, right? And somebody is not willing to basically risk it all and just quit for whatever reason. If they can't pay their bills right away, whether they can't pay their rent doing it because they'd obviously be in the street. Walk us through, I guess, the process to say, okay, you know what? You have the realization that this is not what I want to be doing, but how can I start building something, I guess, on the side? What steps would you kind of guide them in that direction there?
Yeah, I mean, so I always, pull pieces of gold from interviews I've had. That's the beauty of talking to like everyone in the sun. Like you just grab things that they've said.
Yeah.
They've said it better. But my interview with Jeff Sekinger, who's a big capital finance guy now, credit guy, business credit. He was working at a huge firm. I think it might have been JP Morgan, but anyway, it's like in Ohio, one of the big headquarters. And he was just getting so tired of wearing a tie, going to work, because in finance, like that's the epitome of.
Look at Mike's tie.
I like wearing suits. So that's
well, some people like doing it.
Yeah,
he hated it. So he's like, I hate this. Like he wanted to wear a t-shirt.
He probably didn't wear it well.
Some people are suit guys. Some people aren't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's like, I hate this bullshit. And like, I don't want to wear it anymore. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to start building up my own brand. He started to listen to a lot of Gary Vee. And so he just started posting on Instagram once a day. Like he took what he learned in his corporate finance job and just applied it to the personal finance for the regular consumer. So he just made like one video a day on Instagram, committed to it every single day, one video, him just like standing in front of a whiteboard or him standing outside on the street or whatever, talking about finance, giving like one piece of valuable information for people to take and implement to improve their finances or mindset about finances. And he built up a following over time. And it got to a point where they found out about it. And I guess with financial regulations, they're like, you cannot be talking about this stuff on Instagram or on social media or whatever. And so he's like, all right, I quit. So he quit and then started to build his brand. And he lives in San Diego here. He's 7-figure entrepreneur, probably almost 8 figures now. And he's killing it. So it's just a matter of being willing to put yourself out there on the platforms that people can see you on, because unless people can see you, they're not going to know about you. And if they don't know about you, you're never going to be able to monetize or like create a brand or business. So you have to be seen to make it. And that's how it works. I mean, there's lots of money. There's lots of ways to make money without being seen. But the most straight line way to make money these days, if you're just like a regular Joe who's working at a job and wants to do something different, like you're just going to have to be heard out there, and you're going to need to attract people to your stuff based on what you're talking about and based on your personality. It's just, I'm sure you've heard of the article with Kevin Kelly, the 1,000 True Fans. It's like, you don't need that many people to build a business on the side. You just need 1,000 super fans and you'll be set for life. Or not even 1,000, 500, like depending on your price points for what you're selling. But that's all it takes. And you can only get those super fans by creating content, written word, audio, video. You don't have to do all of them. You can do one of them. You can start with one and then go into them all. But it's just, what do you like doing the best? I like podcasting because I can sit in my damn underwear and do it. And it just doesn't take doesn't take nearly as much effort. I don't know. Should we go down?
He just stands up naked.
Nah, I got basketball shorts on right now.
It's fair.
Nothing special.
It's fair. I've done a bunch of, during Corona times, I would do I'd FaceTime with people and go over stuff and, do showings virtually. And a lot of the times I had sweats on. And then a couple people called me out. So ever since then, I always wear pants. Because when they call me out, I'm like,
And also the other point is, you don't have to be someone that's an expert. Like a lot of people think to go online or to create a side income, you need to be an expert at something. So they just keep waiting. They keep reading. They keep listening to other podcasts till they get like expert status in their mind. They never end up doing anything because they're never going to get to expert status in their mind. So you just have to take the leap, because creating content and teaching it, that's really what creates expertise. So you could literally be, not know anything and become something as a student rather than just an expert. And that's what I did. And that's the route that I recommend, because you can, again, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can learn and teach at the same time and produce content. So people can get to know you and you can get smarter. So that's...
And ultimately, even if you aren't adding any value, if you're entertaining, people come back. Like the meme pages that are making, Jerry Media, whoever that was, they just did memes, and then all of a sudden,
Jerry,
yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I have one of those accounts too, called New Age Mindsets, and all I do is post crazy videos. But I do a one-liner like the meme accounts. But where I stand out is I actually try to write something helpful, kind of semi-related to the comedic video. So not only people are entertained a lot of times, but then for the people who actually care about the message, they can read something that's a little more helpful than just the regular, college meme girls doing crazy shit. But so I have that too. But yeah, I mean, content should do one of 4 things, or a combination of all these things. It should, entertain, inspire, educate, or relate, or a combination of any of those. And if you hit those 4 or 1 or 2 of those, you're going to win. So I consider the podcast education and entertainment, because, we're having fun. Hopefully it's kind of funny for some people, but they're also learning something as well. So I call it edutainment, education, entertainment spliced together.
Oh, that's nice. You got to patent that. Oh, get it? Aaron Patton.
That was good.
I'm a dad now. Sorry, I'm a dad now. I got dad jokes.
I think I stole that from someone. I'm not sure who I stole it from.
All right.
It's definitely not my original thing.
Do you ever think of removing the numbers before your podcast?
So I've heard that is a best practice now.
Why?
We'll think about it, right? If we stumble on his page and you have episode 1 to 99, everyone's going to either jump to 99 or 1. So by not having any numbers, they just kind of pick the topic or the person they like, there's more of a chance for exposure, right? I'm assuming that's evergreen.
Yeah, and I think also the numbers now are maybe diminished to SEO a little bit, the searchable title words.
Right.
But honestly, I don't think it's that much of a deal to really impact it, because I like knowing what interview I'm on. And I actually only number the interviews. I don't number the solo episodes. So I actually probably have about 160 episodes.
Yeah, I saw the solo ones, and the reason I asked, those don't have numbers. So
Right.
in my head, I'm like, that's smart, because if someone, like I stumbled on it and I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, I like this topic. I don't know. One of your titles was very catchy. I forget what it was. It was something about like shit.
Oh, very
apps that
catchy.
get
I forget what it was.
No, this is
very
right.
catchy.
Apps that get shit, right?
What was it?
Yeah.
Apps that get shit. He's got to give me a sec. I stall and I BS so I can come in. But it's smart, because if people stumble on like these interviews, I don't even know if we're going to number them, because they're just going to see the guest. They're going to see the description. If they like it, they'll jump on. So it's interesting. It's a whole mindset shift thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been trying to, share my day-to-day, my mindsets and what I've learned or takeaways from the guest interviews for those solo episodes. I went from now I just it cuts to me talking. So I don't do any intro or outro or anything like that. So for the solos, it's just real concise and short. And that's how I think I want it. But mine's, some people number every single one. I actually may go to numbering every one. I'm not really sure, but everyone does it a little differently. But I think as long as you're producing content that you think is valuable for people out there, and you have the end listener in mind, I think that's just the main thing.
Question. Instagram goes away tomorrow. What's the play for Aaron?
What's the play for me?
Poker.
So I mean,
no, I'm talking about outlet wise.
Yeah. So Instagram is the top dog. That's the Mac Daddy. We all know that. It's like it's the middle thing what's the middle thing inside the
nucleus,
the hub of the wheel.
The nucleus.
And then all the other ones are circling around it. So if Instagram went away, I would probably hop on YouTube. But I would definitely ramp up my TikTok, because TikTok's blowing up. That's something that you can go viral on these days without as much effort. Honestly, I think the Chinese built they give you a viral video when you're a new user. I think that's part of their algorithm. Is
that explains it. I was just going to say, because Big Mike,
in the first 25 videos,
Big
and
Mike
then
put up
they
one
give
that
you
got
another viral video in the next 50 videos. But as long as you keep producing, you'll get one every 30. Honestly, I don't know if that's ever the case, but it seems
you're
like
right.
that's how it works.
I think you're right.
They're smart.
So smart.
It's just a matter of time too, right? It takes
smart.
time to do it. So it's there's no downside. It's just a matter of it takes away from your other outlets and you're just spread too thin.
No, I was curious because I the answer that I thought you were going to say was going to be based on data. Where we're at now is trying to, capture, and we haven't maximized this yet, but you're talking about a subscription based, right? So I thought you were going to say I need to start gathering everybody's email just in case the platform goes away tomorrow.
Oh.
Then
to go off that point, I was just answering it in the social media platform.
Got you. Right.
I give you a trick question.
But what you just said is 10 million times more important than any social media platform. So having your own farm of data is the only thing that matters. If you aren't collecting emails or numbers these days, for text, then you're really missing out.
Which is why the merch works.
So, and something that I think a lot of people will find useful is something I've been doing for podcasters, and I'll actually shoot you guys a link probably. I have a Telegram text group where I send out voice texts to podcasters with different tips and things that I do to help them.
That's cool.
Through their podcast journey or show or whatever, things to think about. But I do that in lieu of those mass text platforms that cost friggin', it could cost, a couple $100 a month or something to do the Gary Vee community platform where he texts out everyone.
I don't even like it too, because it's are you a member of it? Of his?
Oh yeah, I'm a member of Gary.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just every once in a while he'll send something motivational or a video or whatever. It's just the email. But I understand he uses it because the email is the open rates are so low, but they're still decent. I mean, email will never go away, but the text message open rates is 95% for him, and I understand it because I see every single text message that he sends.
At some point,
Yep.
text is going to be email, right? Like at some point, we're not going to open all of our texts. Just there's the sheer volume of amount of text we're going to start getting.
Well, audio.
It's
Well,
already
I think that's happened with email. So I think
that's what I'm
I think
saying.
it's just,
Text is the next.
oh yeah, text is the next email. Yeah,
And it could be audio text because they're already, that's being utilized pretty heavily now, but not to
Yeah.
the full extent. But if you're driving or something, it's so much easier to just
I
jump
wonder
on one
what-
of those audio texts. But I think,
some
and that's
new-
where I think Aaron is so spot on because he talks about, the audio boom and how you're just kind of getting into it. But everything is leading to that.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything is just audio.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I
it makes
may
me wanna
actually
have a
do
better voice.
that solo episode this week that may be on that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That-
That's awesome.
the Telegram concept or the text concept.
It makes me want to get like a much more silky voice for the future. Like start to train my voice to sound like Morgan Freeman.
Freeman? Oh, yeah.
Morgan Freeman. Yeah.
Golden
Right?
voice.
Imagine if you got on, you see me, and then I sound like Morgan
That's
Freeman.
like, what's his
Fire.
name? Dan Menery, right? The
Bob Menery.
Bob Menery. Dan, I said.
Dan. Yeah,
Dan.
Bob. Who's Bob Menery?
Bob Menery does the hilarious it's like sports voice.
Oh my God! Yes, and he comes around the corner and
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna get that bastard on the podcast
Yes,
eventually.
he
That's
just
a
did
hard
a
pitch to catch.
phenomenal. He just did a phenomenal podcast with Ed Milet, and I act like I know Ed Milet
That's Ed's
personally,
boy.
but he is
his son.
he's been a silent mentor for me, just like Gary V's for a lot of people.
Why do you say
Are
silent?
you
'Cause they're
in?
not
Are you guys
silent.
in Ed's group?
Silent because he's never spoke to me.
Yeah, but they're not
Yes,
silent.
Yeah.
The what?
Indirect.
Indirect. All right, fine. Sorry, Aaron.
Sorry,
what was
we were
that?
arguing over here. We're like a married couple.
It's all good. No, yeah, I mean, I got a lot of respect for Ed. Ed's on my regular rotation of
Yep.
podcasts that I listen to.
Yeah, who else is on your regular rotation? I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just rather than try
Rattle
to
'em
remember
off.
them all, I'll just bring it up right now.
No
and read
Snooze
them off,
Podcast.
because
Who
there's
else?
Probably like 15.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Like, it's important to find out the way that you like learning the best, because you're not just producing. You need to be learning so that you can continue to engage and be smarter.
Yep.
So I love listening to podcasts. That's why I started podcasts, because that's pretty much the only way I learn these days. Yeah, I'll pick up a Kindle once in a while, but I'm like, damn, this is fucking tiring. I'm spoiled with podcasts.
Yeah.
Just like popping them in, listening when I'm on a walk or whatever. It's easier.
Yeah, I still remember. Hold on, before you go there, and I don't know if I've ever told this on the podcast. So I remember being on the treadmill in the gym, and I was listening to Ed Milet, and something popped in my head, and it was like, you have to start a podcast, and that was literally the moment that it clicked for me. And then I came to Mike, then I came to Claudio, and then before I knew it, now we're 30 episodes in on a podcast. So it's just strange how it happens. But going back to your top,
it's the single biggest hack in society, I say.
Yeah.
Like right now, to level up your credibility and knowledge in anything that you want, anything,
yep,
Yeah,
comedy,
it's
finance,
endless.
real estate, social media, whatever.
Yeah,
right,
Between that and YouTube, there's no excuse to do anything.
Self-education.
Yeah.
yep,
I feel like
Yeah,
I
that's
can
why
deliver a baby if needed.
Yeah. That's why Tony Robbins and Dean or whatever, they do the knowledge blueprint stuff. It's like that. This e-learning, self-education industry is going to the moon.
yep.
It's going to go to the moon,
Right.
because college will die. It's only a matter of time.
I think this is the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's going to take a long time. Yeah, this might be the end.
I think it's
Corona
the
may
end.
be the end.
I think
Yeah,
everything's
I mean-
going to go online, and hopefully when our daughters are older.
Yeah, we don't have to pay for college.
Exactly. That's what I'm hoping.
That's awesome. Man.
That's good. Yeah, they're just going to be making TikTok videos.
Right,
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, not those.
I just
TikToks.
posted. If you go and look at the last post for New Age Mindsets, it's the daughter doing a TikTok dance with her father watching it, and it is not.
Dude, it gives me such
you're-
anxiety just hearing
If
you
you're
say
a girl
that.
dad, it's going to give you a lot of anxiety.
Oh
but,
man,
I'm hoping
Oh, man.
my daughter can't dance.
Shit. What's the your top pods there?
The podcast I listen to, I'll just go no particular order. Young
No Snooze
Entrepreneur
Podcast.
Lifestyle with
Wait,
Peter
hold
Booth.
on. No Snooze Podcast. Okay, second. Go ahead.
Upreneur with Chris Ducker. Smart Passive Income is like the original with Pat Flynn. He also lives in San Diego. I've met him. He's fantastic. I like sometimes, although not all the time, The Wolf's Den with Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street.
Uh-huh.
I like that one.
My friend does all his personal branding, Mark Lack.
Really?
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Lewis Howes, of course. I like The Passionate Few with Omar.
Yes,
That's a great one.
The Mike Dillard podcast. James Wedmore, Mind Your Business podcast. Joe Rogan, obviously, although I only listen to snippets of some of his episodes. I don't listen. I'm not a huge,
it's tough to go 3 hours
it's just
every
so
time.
long.
I love
It's
it.
ridiculous.
I love it because then you dive in.
I don't know.
But it's got to be an interesting topic.
Ed Milet, obviously. Andy Frisella, The Real as Fuck. Naval Ravikant. Stu McLaren, Marketing Your Business. Travis Chappell, Build Your Network. Gerard Adams, Leaders Create Leaders. And then the final one, and the one that I listened to the absolute most since the very beginning, is Gary. So Gary V.
Do you feel that, and I apologize for asking so many follow-up questions, but I have these. Do you feel that, like, I feel like the Gary V stuff, it's fading a little on me because I already know the answers, right? I've listened to him for so long. You know his response. You already know it.
I know everything he's going to say, but it's just like a constant reminder.
It's repetition.
And then also I can fast forward to when it's something possibly new. So I get like every episode is like less and less new stuff, but I always like try to get to the stuff where he's answering particular situation questions.
Yeah.
And his answers are usually the same, but there's definitely gold in there depending.
Yeah.
But it's just like more of like a motivation, like throw him on for 20 minutes now and just okay, that's where I remember.
Yeah.
And
My hypothesis is that stuff like trash talk, where it's actual like content and not people sitting there and talking like you're saying, is going to do very well in the future because everyone's just flooding it with people sitting there talking. Like we do it, you know, and it's definitely great and something that we need to find time for. And it's difficult because we need to keep putting stuff out, is that like original content that is like the 5-minute thing that gets people to know you, and it's like a gateway drug to the podcast, you know?
Yeah. So I started doing, I interviewed myself like 30 interviews ago, like a reintroduction pilot episode, like where I am in the podcast now and whatever. And I told myself that I was going to start telling more personal stories in the Thursday episodes. So I started doing that. I've kind of tapered it off a little bit, but I was telling some stories, like wild stories. Some of them had nothing to do with the topic that I was going to talk about, but like when I crashed my car in high school and like different stuff just for people to get to know me.
Yeah.
And I think some people, probably really enjoyed that. Some people are probably like, what the hell is he talking about? But now I try to integrate stories that actually have some semblance of relatability to the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I forget sometimes, but I always try to think,
That's a skill.
all right, maybe tell a little bit of a story to make it more personable.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Just being mindful of time because I know we could
talk
go
forever
all night.
to you.
But so we like to leave the listeners with some mantra, a dime, a little boost of inspiration, will you say? So this will bring us to Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes.
Life is a game. Play it. Life is a challenge. Meet it. Life is an opportunity. Capture it. Unknown. I don't know who said it.
Yeah, he never knows who says this stuff because he makes up his own stuff.
And then you just clip it together, you put it up, and it's like, whoa, this Dave Regina quote is awesome.
So I like the short ones.
I was going to add one on there.
Go ahead.
It's like, life is levels, and unless you're completely satisfied and happy on the current level you are, you owe it to yourself to try to jump up to the next.
Ooh.
That's good. That's my whole thing is happiness.
Patton's Patton. I love it.
Happiness is progress is my whole, I constantly think about. When people aren't progressing, they're miserable. It's clear as day.
Yep.
So this is Mike's mantras. I changed it up recently. I'm trying to mature a little bit with the suit. The goal is not to be successful. The goal is to be valuable. Once you're valuable, instead of chasing success, it will attract itself to you. # boss babe. I don't know, that's whoever said it.
I like that.
I'm trying to get the boss babe on here. Nicole's, I think her name's...
Really? How funny is that?
Might be Nicole or Sydney. I don't remember. But
Wow.
yeah, she's a badass.
So just to wrap us up, where can our listeners find you, connect with you, and get to know you a little bit better?
And join the new age.
Join the new age movement. It's just the Instagram's the best way. New Age Influencers Podcast is the podcast account, but then from there you can get to my personal account, and then from there you can get to the other accounts. I post a lot of wild shit on there, but I also post a lot of helpful shit. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. And you can also go to the website, aaronbpatton.com. B as in boy, aaronbpatton.com. I don't spend a lot of time updating that as much as I should. But once we start rocking with things, I will. So that's the other way.
And let us know when you need some, I don't know what they called in poker, but the guys to play with you at the table. And we could be the, whatever it's called, sacrificial lambs to collect. And then you're buying bottles after.
That would be genius.
Sounds good. Actually, we have a game tonight in 2 hours.
We'll be there.
Man.
I'm on my way.
You're going to have some
right.
good luck tonight, man. Hey, Aaron, thank you again. This has been fun. So until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
My man. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, guys.
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Come on.